everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the 8th day of bookmas. It's the last month of the year. Obviously that means that next month is going to be the next year. It's going to be 2022. Crazy. And I thought it would be fun to talk about a handful of books that are being adapted into movies or TV shows. Basically there are a few that sort of caught my eye and they're all books that I have not read. My planning for this is once again not great. So we're gonna see how it happens. I have got like the full synopses for some of these books and other ones I'm gonna be looking up as I'm going along. I've got some tea here to pass my time away. I'm also going to be crocheting. So I've got my crochet hook and I'm basically just gonna be chatting about these and hopefully I can multitask. Basically I was watching the Graham Norton show. Graham Norton is like the best talk show host ever. He's just like not problematic, you know. That being said, I was watching the Graham Norton show and basically there was this actress on it who is promoting this TV show that she's going to be in, and this is based off of a book by J.P. Delaney. Now I haven't read anything by J.P. Delaney but I've heard of them before. It is, from what I can tell, it's basically about this woman that kind of moves into this like rental apartment, like this apartment where basically the rent is very low, like suspiciously low, but the reason that it's so low is because the person who owns the property basically has these rules that you have to abide by if you are renting it. From the trailer that I saw on the Graham Norton show, it was clinical, cold, like it didn't look like a very nice place to go, but this main character obviously is down on her luck. She doesn't have a lot of money, so this seems like a perfect opportunity for her, so she does that. And I think what happens is, like, as time goes on, she starts to realise there's a lot of similarities between her and the girl who used to rent the apartment before her. It sounds interesting. It sounds like your bog standard thriller, but I always like one of them, and the fact that it's being made into a TV show has piqued my interest. Anyway, that was the first one. This is gonna be really fun. I'm just okay, I think that this is, wait. The thing that like piqued my interest in this next one is basically that the book is a true crime book. I think true crime is interesting, especially when it's got something to do with like serial killers. And also this film is going to be starring Eddie Redmayne and Jessica Chastain. Now I'm not that bothered about Jessica Chastain. I've seen her in like a couple of things. She's not really like someone that I, you know, keep an eye out for, but Eddie Redmayne is obviously a brilliant actor. Like, he's done a lot of things and I feel like he plays a lot of different roles. This is called The Good Nurse, a true story of medicine, madness and murder, and it's by Charles Graeber. So this is about Charlie Cullen. He was a nurse and he basically killed a lot of patients. That's the only thing that I really know. I'm gonna presume that it is following the events of like what he did as opposed to like afterwards. I don't know how bothered I am about reading the book first, because I feel like with true crime that like you can definitely, I mean listen, it's a true story. It's not like I'm getting spoiled for anything because it's not like a plot, it's like a real life thing. So this next one, okay, I'm actually going to put my thing down for now. This next one is going to be The School for Good and Evil by Chanini. Is that how you say her name? I don't know. This is, I think, being made into a movie, and I looked it up on IMDb and there was like a couple of pictures and the costumes for this looked absolutely incredible. Very, you know, bold and like fun. The only thing I know is about this is about a school. It's something to do with fairy tales and like retellings and stuff like that. Part of the synopsis for the book basically says that this year best friends Sophie and Agatha are about to discover where all the lost children go, the fabled school for good and evil, where ordinary boys and girls are trained to be fairy tale heroes and villains. As the most beautiful girl in Gavel of Gavaldon, Sophie has dreamed of being kidnapped into an enchanted world her whole life. With her pink dresses, glass slippers and devotion to good deeds, she knows she'll earn top marks at the school for slippers. No. She knows that she will earn top marks at the school for good and graduate a storybook princess. Meanwhile, Agatha, with her shapeless black frocks, wicked pet cat, and dislike of nearly everyone, seems a natural fit for the school of evil. But when the two girls are swept into the endless woods, they find their fortunes reversed. Sophie's dumped in the school for evil to take uglification, death curses, and henchman training, while Agatha finds herself in the school for good, thus amongst handsome princes and fair maidens for classes in princess etiquette and animal communication. That sounds pretty interesting. I think it sounds really interesting. I feel like it's going to be really fun. This book is part of a series, so I'm guessing that like if this first movie is well received, that it's going to do, you know, they're going to continue making it into a series and whatnot. This is starring Charlize Theron, who obviously is famous, Kerry Washington, who is also famous. There was also a handful of other people that I kind of recognised who were going to be in it, so I feel like it's like quite a big budget film. I think that it's going to do quite well, and I really like fairy tales. The next one that I saw was Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. I've literally never heard of this book in my life. However, I read the synopsis of like the movie. Now I can't remember what it is, so I'm looking it up. I also saw the cover of it, and I really like the cover. I think it looks really nice. Halloween 1963, they call him the October Boy, or Old Hacksaw Face, or Sawtooth Jack. Whatever the name, everybody in this small Midwestern town knows who he is. How he rises from the cornfields every Halloween, a butcher knife in his hand, and makes his way towards town, where gangs of teenage boys eagerly await their chance to confront the legendary nightmare. Both the hunter and the hunted, the October Boy is the prize in an annual rite of life and death. I don't know what this is rated as. It says YA. It says YA, so okay. I was thinking, because the cover kind of gives me like middle grade vibes, but also like it's too scary. Like if I was a middle grade reader, like if I was that young, I would probably pee my pants reading this, I'm not gonna lie. It really appeals to me because, you know, anyone standing with a knife, as long as it's not like in real life and they're not standing right next to me. It sounds really interesting. I also like the fact that it's set in 1963. I think the 60s is an interesting time period. I mean, to be honest, I think that any time period is interesting as long as it's not right now. And I like holiday themed things. This next book that's being adapted into a movie is called Bones and All. It's by Camille de Angelis. Once again, I've never heard of this book before, but then it said something to do with cannibals. And I was like, interesting. But like in a really non-threatening way. Interesting. This is basically about someone who has grown up, I believe, eating people. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so her mum abandons her when she's 16, so I presume that her mum has something to do with the fact that she eats people. And as you can imagine, like, when you eat people, you obviously have a difficulty becoming, like, close to people, like, getting close to people, because every time you get close to people, you just want to eat them, which is really relatable, right? The synopsis doesn't really say much. It basically just sets up the situation of, like, this girl who eats people and whatnot. And I think that she meets a boy and like is about to fall in love with him and is scared that she's gonna eat him. I think that's what it is. And then she's also looking for her dad. The thing that like originally caught my eye with this is I'm gonna be basic. I'm gonna be so basic. You're gonna hate me. Timothée Chalamet's gonna be in it. And like, listen, I'm not like everyone else. I don't obsess over him, but I also do think that he is a very good actor. So like naturally he's going to be in something and I'm interested to see. I feel like he's done a really good job at like picking out roles, and I feel like he's very intentional with the roles that he plays. And also this is going to be directed by Luca Guadagnino. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Who also directed Call Me By Your Name. Say what you want about that film. Questionable storyline, things happen in it, it's a bit iffy, the book's also a bit iffy and blah blah blah. However, I will say that like the way that it was directed and the kind of style that Luca Guadagnino has is very beautiful, and like it sets itself apart from a lot of other things. And this is going to be, I think, a genre that he hasn't really worked in before, because it kind of has a very horror kind of feel to it. And then I saw that aside from that, it's also starring Taylor Russell, who I wasn't sure who that was to begin with. And then I looked her up, and she is the girl that was in Escape Room. And I really like Escape Room. I think that they're just very fun. Is all I can say. I thought those movies were quite fun, and she was in that, and I think she did a good job. It's also got Chloe Sevigny in it, like Chloe Sevigny. Also, cannibals. Sounds interesting. So this next one is a book called The Wonder, and it is by Emma Donoghue. I haven't read anything by Emma Donoghue, but I really want to read The Pull of the Stars, and this book now sounds really interesting. I should really look into like more of her bibliography. From the books that I know that Emma Donoghue has written, like a lot of the synopses sound really interesting to me. It's basically about this English nurse who is told that she needs to come to this tiny village in the Irish Midlands, and basically like she has to come and look at this girl who is said to have survived for months without like eating any food, and like obviously that's a bit of an anomaly. I mean, I say a bit, it's definitely an anomaly. That doesn't really happen. Usually you die if you don't eat food. It says that it's a psychological thriller, but obviously it's got the element of like the historical fiction side of it. It's going to be starring Florence Pugh, and like everybody else on this planet, I do really like Florence Pugh. She is fantastic. And I don't know any of the other people, quite frankly. I think I'm gonna leave this. This is gonna be the last one that we're spoking about. Wow. This is gonna be the last thing that we're talking about. And I've done really well. Like this is I can't multitask. I've just found out that I can't multitask. That's brilliant. This is actually gonna be 2 movies. And I think that one of them was supposed to be released. No, I'm so confused. Basically, I don't actually know what the actual facts of this are, because now I'm really confused, and there's like loads of information that I can't seem to navigate, but I think they're both in 2022. Anyway, this is like a double feature, and I find this really, really funny that these 2 movies that are about the same story are literally coming out in the same year, but they have very different vibes, and that's the reason why I want to talk about them. Also because I think it sounds very interesting, and this is one of those classic stories that I've never really thought to read, but I really should, because I looked up the synopsis and it's wild. It's a fairy tale, so like obviously it's messed up, because fairy tales are messed up. There's 2 Pinocchio movies coming out in 2022. One of them is by Disney, so as you can imagine, I'm a little dancing boy, or whatever it is he sings. And it's starring Tom Hanks. So once again, Tom Hanks is like, you can't go wrong with Tom Hanks. Disney and Tom Hanks mixed together, like that is just wholesome. That's wholesome content right there. The other Pinocchio is being directed by Guillermo del Toro. I think he kind of gets classified as horror director, but I just know, like, I'm pretty sure he's known for directing a lot of very creepy things. He's one of those directors that's got really distinct kind of vibe to all his movies, and like style and stuff like that. And I feel like he's going to do really well with this. I don't know anything about like who's going to be in it and stuff like that, but it is going to be stop motion animation, which is always really fun. Like you can really make things creepy with stop motion. Even though I've never watched any of his movies, he just gives me the vibes of like someone that's very good at subverting things and like making things different, and you know, twisting stories and stuff like that, and I'm very interested. If there's any book to movie adaptations or book to TV adaptations that you know about coming out next year that you are excited for, please let me know down in the comments. I'm always interested to hear about books that are being adapted, even though I never get to the books before the movies come out. It's always something that I want to do and then I just never do. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to give it a like, stick around, click the subscribe button if you want to see more of my content, and thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.